Hello there, my name is George Farmer and I'm here today to talk about the TMC AquaGrow MicroHabitat. It's a Pico aquarium made from acrylic. It comes supplied with a large built-in filtration unit which comes supplied with a large amount of sponge media which acts as biological and mechanical filtration. It also comes supplied with LED lighting and a power head which is rated at 300 litres per hour and uses 4 watts of electricity. Because it only holds around 6 litres of water, it isn't ideal for fish, so I would recommend stocking small shrimp and ornamental snails. However, do beware when stocking some snails as they can eat plant matter. Speaking of plants, we're going to fully plant up this tank step by step for you now. So when you're choosing your snails, be careful because some do eat plants. The first stage is to install the substrate. This is TMC Nutrisoil, which is black. It's quite a fine grain and it's a complete soil, so it's very nutrient rich. It contains ammonia within the first few weeks of installation, so it's important not to add any livestock during this period, and you should be using a test kit for ammonia and nitrite to ensure these are undetectable before you add any livestock. This is ideal for fishless cycling. It will mature the filter prior to adding any livestock, which will prevent new tank syndrome. So the next stage now is to install the driftwood. This is Sumatra wood and it replicates like a tree stump or a tree. It's nice because it will actually protrude from the waterline, which adds an extra dimension to the aquascape. It's been pre-soaked so it won't leach any tannins which will discolour the water, and it won't float after we've added water. You can attach mosses or anubias or ferns to this wood, but for today we're just going to be planting around it. The next stage will be wetting the soil, so we're going to be using an air line, so the soil is not going to be disturbed too much, causing cloudy water. I'm going to just be filling up the tank enough just to cover the top of the soil, and this will make planting much easier and will ensure the roots are anchored nicely into the soil after filling up with water. Next stage is planting. I've separated the plants into background, midground and foreground. I've prepared the plants by removing them from the pots, removing the mineral wool and separating them into individual plantlets. I've also pruned the roots back to about 1 centimetre long, which will promote new root growth. We're starting by planting the background, which is Cryptocorn Wendtii green. Ideal for a small tank like this as a background plant. It's low light tolerant, it grows slowly and is low maintenance. The next stage is planting the midground, which is Starogyne repens. This is a relatively new plant to the hobby and looks similar to a small hygrophila. It can maintain a compact appearance by regular pruning and isn't too demanding of high light or nutrients. Last but not least is planting the foreground. Again, another relatively new plant to the hobby, also known as Downoi, is Pogostemon helferi, which is an attractive star-shaped plant with the crinkled leaves that obtain a nice ornamental appearance. It can remain relatively low to the substrate, especially under good lighting, but may require frequent pruning. Finally, we're going to plant a little bit more Starogyne between the Pogostemon and the wood to act as a nice transition. Okay, now we're planted, we're ready to fill up with water. Again, I'm going to use an air line so we're not disturbing the soil too much, which can cause cloudy water. Once the tank is about half full, we can top up with a bucket very gently by pouring it into the rear chamber. Now we're topped up with water, we're ready to install the equipment. So the light just simply clips on to the aquarium side, and I'm going to fit the filter nozzle, which I removed prior to planting. So now we've got the equipment running, the plants are planted, and we're ready to start maintaining the tank. Ideally you want to be using a photo period of about 8 hours, and you should be using a plug-in timer for that. Long term we'll be needing to add fertilisers as well. Although the substrate contains lots of nutrients, plants do need some nutrients via the water column, so any off-the-shelf fertilisers containing a host of micronutrients and perhaps macronutrients as well should do the trick. Also, we shouldn't be adding any livestock initially. As mentioned before, the substrate contains ammonia and we need to be fishless cycling this aquarium prior to adding any livestock at all. The tank is only about 6 litres, so it's not ideal for fish, so small shrimp and snails are ideal. So that's one way you can set up the TMC AquaGrow MicroHabitat. To get your hands on one of these, you can subscribe to Practical Fishkeeping magazine, but hurry, the offer is only open while stocks last.